America was a very foreign place in some ways. America held family, and family was somewhat of a distant concept.
I was terrified of the United States. I literally felt like it was the dangerous, unsafe place with rapists lurking on every corner. I don't know why I had that impression, but I think too many Reader's Digest stories, possibly. That was my only link to the U.S.
It was really scary, and I think it was even more scary because I knew my family would be 5,000 miles away across the ocean, and I was in Seattle fending for myself.
I wasn't very excited about moving back. I didn't have very good expectations. I think I set my bar pretty low. I think part of that was just a coping mechanism in trying to avoid being disappointed.
There are so many conversations that happen that are so angry and bitter towards America as a whole, and not because any of us just really know anything, but because we're afraid of what we don't know.
For 8 years that I was in BFA, all I heard was stories of America, and I'd say a lot of it was negative because it was from the point of view of MKs, and because of that I had very negative expectations and very prejudices against America. And I'm really sad about that because only years later have I come to appreciate where I live and be thankful for the opportunities that California has got to give me.
Overall, I think it was more the snippets that I had seen of churches and of youth groups and of people very caught up in materialism and very absorbed with their own lives who didn't seem to care very much about the rest of the world. And I was scared that I would just find that to be consistent across the board. So I kind of set that as my expectation and was very pleasantly surprised to find very deeply caring people and people who genuinely want to know about the rest of the world and wanted to know about me.
Transitioning home, I didn't really, because I had never set foot in America before I came to America.
Where I lived was very remote in the jungle, with houses built up on stilts with notched logs that you climbed up into the just wooden bamboo floors and leaf thatched roofs. And I woke up every morning to the monkeys howling out in the jungle around me, and then being the one who gets to grow up and leave and come back to a life of comfort and ease leaves me sometimes with a sense of guilt that why me? Why was I able to just come back and live a normal life while the people, the children that I grew up with that were my playmates and friends are still there living in poverty and eking out a living. And I think it's more because I myself said as an 8th grader, I am never going to turn my back on this. I can't walk away from this and not be involved for life.
I have a horrible story. Okay. When I was in 7th grade, I think, all of my friends in Texas, I had just moved to Texas, and all of them wore Abercrombie and Fitch, and I was a missionary kid and a pastor's kid, and we did not have money for $40 plain t-shirts at Abercrombie. So oh, this is so embarrassing. My sister had some of these clothes that her friends had given her. So I would cut the tags off of the clothes that were really Abercrombie and glue them onto the clothes that weren't, so that when my friends were like, "Where'd you get that shirt? It's cute," I could be like, "Oh, it's from Abercrombie." And they'd be like, "No, it's not." And I'd be like, "Look at the tag." Because I wanted so desperately to fit in and for them to think I could be on the same page as them. And at the same time, I was completely forgetting so many of the things that I knew about myself and had learned about myself in order to fit in.
I turn relationships on and off like a light switch. So my past in Turkey, it's off right now. And my past in Germany, it's off. My past in undergrad is off. And right now my present in grad school is on. And to try to explain all my contexts to people, especially when I know that they're probably not going to be around in a little while, it's just too complicated and too much to get into. So.
Well, I've tried putting on a facade just kind of quickly trying to see what things people do and then mimicking that.
I've tried to blend in. I've tried to be the chameleon and try to make myself kind of disappear into the crowd so that no one really notices me as sticking out as a sore thumb.
Attend parties that I'm invited to that I know I'm not going to enjoy, but I'm like, no, I need to go because that's where everyone is and that's where all the stories are going to be made, and I need to have a story with these people. And then I get there and I leave there, and the next day the stories are horrible, and I don't want stories like that.
I think mostly wear masks, just find out what the people around me think or feel and somehow take that on myself, or at least not speak up about what I truly think or feel, but just listen to them and sometimes I think stifle a part of myself in a way.
It was very evident very quickly that I was odd and I was different, and it was painful to be different, so I shut it down. I shut the differences down and tried to fit in, but over literally a process of 2 years, and I didn't realize this until a couple months ago, that it was a slow death of who I would consider my true character to be, and I literally, it was a slow suicide, and it took a really painful experience to revive that part of me.
Like, I have, younger brothers and sisters coming through high school and moving to America, and I want so badly just to make it easy for them somehow, but there's no way. Like, you can prepare them and they can be grieving and they can be excited to move to America and have grieved their friendships, and they can do everything right and it's still gonna suck. You can't make transition easy.